I'd like to welcome everyone to the Madison County Board of Commissioners Agenda Setting Work Session, March 4th, 2024 at 6 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order and start off with the chairman's report. Tonight it's very brief because we just had a meeting this past Monday night. There is some circulation on Facebook about this right here. This is our for the rec department and our senior center. Please go online. There's a questionnaire as to what you might feel like that we're lacking in our county. If you're able to answer those questions, what you would like to see, or how you would like for us to focus our rec department and for our seniors. So if you can see this outside anywhere, we'll have one of these posted outside our office, but they are on social media right now. The meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, March 12th at 7 p.m. at the Senior Center. If you'd like to attend to hear more about it, please do so. And that's how quick my chairman's report is. Business involving guest groups or multiple visitors. Mr. Travis Hypersley from UGA Extension Office, Madison County A&R agent.
How are y'all?
Hey, buddy. Very good.
I'll be brief. I see y'all got some stuff in front of you there. I'm not 100% sure what's on it. To be honest with you, our printer and internet and phones were out today, so I just got some notes here, but at the end of April, you'll be getting another quarterly report from us. But I just wanted to share with y'all what's been going on since the start of the year. Our farm gate value for 2022 just came out not long ago. Madison County ranked 5th overall out of all the counties in Georgia, so not too bad, with an overall ranking of over $487 million generated in Madison County through agriculture. So also in those statistics, over 2,000 jobs here in Madison County are directly involved with agriculture. Just some stuff for our office and some of the stuff we've been doing is all the soil samples and water samples that we've been doing. We get a lot of those. We've done 89 total just in January and February. And what those numbers don't tell you is all the conversation that goes with before and after all those samples come in. So we get a lot of people in the community calling saying, hey, I want to test my water, and we go back and forth and explain to them what kind of issues you might have and what test will be best for you. And then there's conversations afterwards. If there's any kind of recommendation that we need to do after the fact, we have that conversation as well. So there's a lot that goes in. Carrie, she does a great job, but some of the stuff that she's not able to answer, that's when I'll get involved, and we do a lot of water tests here in the county. So especially right now, all the rain, everybody's complaining about iron in the water. So and then let's see, our total office contacts that I've personally done as an A&R agent is 81 this year. That's just directly sitting in the office. People either emailing or calling or coming in face-to-face. I didn't do any site visits in January, but in February I did 3, and I just got done with one not too long ago today. So there's going to be a lot more coming, especially with springtime. Everybody's getting outside, wanting to get stuff done. So I'm sure I'm going to keep busy with that. As trainings go, they told me when I got this job the first year is going to be nothing but training, and they've stuck to that. So I've done a lot of trainings, and I'll be in Tifton next week down there for another one. So a little bit as a 4-H update, just as our students go. We just got done with a district project achievement at Rock Eagle. We had 7 students that placed top 3 in their categories out of the whole district as Northeast. We had 3 that qualified for special awards in their areas. We have 3 students that are running for district board, and we have 1 student that's already a part of that board that's presiding right now. So we're excited about those and the interest that we get from those students wanting to do more than just in the county. So we're excited, and we support them as well. We have a lot of teams that have been practicing, competitive teams like our project safe teams, our shotgun, archery, and BB teams, our mounted horse drill teams, We've had our horse hippology team practicing. I think we just started with wildlife judging, poultry judging, and our livestock judging team, which I've teamed up with Dr. Josh Whitworth at the middle school. We have 17 kids total with 4-H and FFA. We've kind of gone in and done that together, and we got 17 kids total that's on our livestock judging team. So that's a lot more interest than when I was going through school, because it was hard to get 4 people to make a team back when I was doing it. So our livestock show teams, our kids just got done in the week of February 20th in Perry at the state show. Everybody had a really good time. We had really good turnout, really good kids did really, really good. So always excited for our livestock show kids. Just to give you an update on our fax position, we've done interviews, we've narrowed down our search, and we have a pending offer, so we're looking forward to hearing what comes of that. And then, like I said at the beginning, we'll be sending out an annual report at the end of April. That's all I have written down. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. Travis, I want to take a minute to recognize you are an A&R agent, but we also have the 4-H and Youth Development Agent Susan Goldman, 4-H Program Assistant Deborah Whopper, and Administrative Assistant Terry Hayes. The documents that I have in front of me says that you all served 2,729 youth and adults, 3 programs in just this past quarter. So again, thank you for that, and it looks like your social media following is about 5,900 people. So we appreciate everybody's efforts, along with the 511 volunteer hours spent here in our region. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, for that don't know, this is the University of Georgia Extension Agency through Madison County. Thank you, buddy. Public hearing and actions on zoning matters. Gentlemen, first off, we'll consider amending the agricultural residential AR zoning district in section 7.3. Chart the zoning ordinance to revert the minimum acreage requirement from 4 to 2 acres, from 4 acres to 2 acres. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. All right, as Todd just stated, consider amending the agricultural residential AR zone district in section 7.3 and 8 chart of the zoning ordinance to revert the minimum acreage requirements from 4 acres to 2 acres. There was much discussion and about this. There was no one to come forward to ask for approval of this request. But we did have Mr. Steve Allen to come forward and speak in opposition. After all was said and done, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 4 to 2 to recommend you gentlemen to approve reverting back to 2 acres rather than 4.
Thank you, sir. We need public input on this, right? Yes, sir. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this motion? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this motion? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, we entertain a motion. I have a motion by Commissioner May. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kirk. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Yeah, I would, in regards to the change, we made this change for a particular reason and then we've also gone out to have some professional help give us some guidance on ordinance rewrite. And I think maybe some of the unintended consequences from changing it to the 4 acres, I think possibly we're going to have some of the same or even worse by changing it back. So I'm not in support of this at this time. I want to see the completion work of the zoning regulations and see how that falls in. That's my line of thinking, and so
All right.
with that.
Any other discussion, gentlemen?
This is to me one of the hardest issues that we have faced as a whole. I'm hoping, like Commissioner Dawson, that our consultants that are working on our ordinance is going to give us some more guidance. One of the things we struggle with is what is the definition of rural character. When we're looking at our rural character and conservation areas, what constitutes rural character? Is it larger parcel size? I think that's one of the things. And we have run into a lot of unintended consequences by making this change. One of the things I am concerned about what is precipitated to allowing R1s for us by default, I guess, going to R1s in the rural character area. That's concerning. So it's tough. It could go either way. So.
Yeah, I guess I'm not going to go through exactly what you said, but I'm going to go with Terry. One of those things is sort of damn if you do and damn if you don't. And so, I guess that all the unintended consequences and talking with the folks, most of the folks in District 4, which is really agricultural, and then those folks talking about the things they would like to do with their family members and some of those type things, and issues with that, and having to zone those R1, I don't like that. And then again, with AR, there's issues with that. So I guess that in rethinking this thing, I wish that we had left it at 2 and then waited for our folks to, that the consultants we have to come and look at it and give us some better advice on it. So I guess that's the reason I would look towards putting it back to a 2-acre AR, that at least the agricultural zoning would be there. Now, that may not make a whole lot of difference on the total effect, but in my mind, that would at least put it in the correct category and help maybe resolve some of the issues that folks are having with their trying to do things with their family. I too don't want to have subdivisions out there where they don't need to be subdivisions. We'll look at that on a case-by-case basis until we get a better zoning after our consultants look at it.
With that being said, I have to say that maybe the verbiage we're using now in referring to A1s and A2s, and then we turn around and we talk about rural characteristics. Rural characteristics is not confined to whether you're farming. And that is something that I think that may be an oversight. I'm hesitant to support the change on this because we have got people who have dealt with this in several counties looking at it now for us. And while hindsight's a great advantage to have, at the end of the day, I'd really prefer for them to make us a recommendation as what they've seen and what they suggest, and then us move forward at that rather than possibly make another mistake. With that being said, in the fact that we do look at each zoning request individually, and we've made changes, or allowed changes, one way or the other. We have a tool in place that we can use if we want to do that, rather than change this until we get a recommendation. And that's my feelings on it.
All right. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Commissioner Adams?
A no would be not to change it, correct? No.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
All right, motion fails. All right, moving on. Postpone zoning matters.
Hope we have found that if the motion fails, there has to be another motion to deny.
To deny, that ain't come up yet, has it?
That is true on rezones of property because there are rights to, sorry, I'm thinking out loud. I don't think it's necessary on a text amendment
Okay.
because there's no rights of appeal for this.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Scott? Start off with postpone zoning matters. You may not have it in front of you actually, because it didn't come back.
Well, we have already made our recommendations, and all three of them were to approval. You guys postponed it, so it's in your hands.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Loggins? So now, Mr. Loggins, just so you understand what just happened?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we will be doing is we will be taking this up exactly where we left off in the last meeting. Meaning you're asking for a rezone of your 6 acres from A1 to R1 to allow the property to be divided into 2 equal tracts. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Well, now I'm making a formal request to withdraw my request for that rezoning from A1 to R1. I'm withdrawing that request. So it's no longer an issue.
Okay.
Well, is that based off of the vote you just heard, or is it based off of your understanding from the last meeting?
It's my understanding from the last meeting, and my daughter had told me it might be some time before she would even go back to considering going through all that, so it's not worth the effort. So I'm withdrawing my request to rezone it from A1 to R1, making a formal withdrawal.
Completely concur with that, and there don't need to be a motion on that nor a vote, does it? Because he withdrew prior to.
You're correct.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace.
Have a good evening.
Take care, sir. Hey, young lady.
How are you doing today?
Ms. Collins.
Yes.
Requesting to rezone their 5 acres from A2 to R1 to allow the property to be divided into 2 equal tracts to allow their daughter to reside beside them on the property on Cherokee Road, right?
Yes.
3092. Just state your name. for
And
me.
I'm Lisa Collins, and just like the previous gentleman, she asked for us to repeal or take back the request and undo it. She's now looking at moving to Statham instead of out there helping us. Different job, further away.
I understand completely.
Okay. Is there a process I need to go through for what Ms. Roach and I had discussed?
Yes, ma'am. You will tomorrow get with Ms. Tracy Patrick, and we'll start the process of withdrawal.
Okay, thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Vincent and Bonnie. All right, so yours is a little bit different.
Mine's a little different.
Sorry.
I'm Bonnie Gentine, and we bought 2 properties adjoining each other. The one property was 2-point-something acres, and I was told, and there was no plat on record, so I was told I needed to bring that up to current zoning before I could do anything to the house. So we chose to take 2 acres from the larger property and give it to the smaller property.
Yes, ma'am. So with the vote that you heard just a second ago, you'll proceed as you were last month. Just so you, okay, thank you. With that being said, gentlemen, I'm gonna start this over just a little bit, because I don't think there's gonna be anybody here in favor of and or against this rezone, but if there is, please let me know.
Did we already do the public
Yes.
hearings?
We did.
Okay.
But because I just wanted to revert that just for a second. Hearing none, we'll bring it back before the board and we'll pick it up right where we left off. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to rezone request, well, can you specify the acreage on the drawings? Specify the acreage for it.
These 2 acres were part of this larger property,
So
we
those-
join it to that property.
So it'll be just a total of 4.27 will be rezoned to AR, and the remainder of the 14.97 will remain as A2 zone.
I move that this rezone request as presented and as explained to the 4.27 acres of this parcel that would be rezoned as requested to AR.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler, second by Commissioner May. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none?
Yes.
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 Thank you, ma'am. Motion carries. You're good to
Anything else
go.
I need to do?
You're good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, current zoning matters.
Okay.
Research up to fine.
Some of items 1 and 2 are taken up in one vote. Fred and Maria Hall are requesting to rezone their 5.36 acres from A2 to AR to bring the property in compliance with zoning regulations and to reduce the lot size to approximately 4 acres, with the remaining acres to be absorbed in their adjoining property. The property is located at 0 Booger Hill Road in Danielsville on map 27, parcel 13001 in District 1. They're also requesting to rezone their 7.65 acres from A2 to AR to bring property into compliance with zoning regulations and to allow the absorption of acreage from adjoining property to slightly adjust the property lines to allow an existing driveway easement to be on the property. The property is located at 3771 Booger Hill Road in Danielsville, map 27, parcel 173 in District 1. Public hearing, no one came forward to speak in favor of, no one came forward to speak in opposition to. The planning and zoning voted to recommend, voted 6-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. and Ms. Hall here? All right. Gentlemen, just like P and Z, we can take this up in one motion if you choose. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone? Anyone here to speak in opposition of this rezone? Hearing none, we'll close the floor. Bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to request to approve. Yes, 1 and 2.
Second motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams, a second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Is there clarity on the, I'm gonna call it the unopened drive there? They're making comments regarding the easement access to the back lot and then just a little confusing, I guess. I mean,
I think somewhere I read it's an existing easement.
The two lots are reconfigured, and the third lot is kind of the southwest quadrant of that cul-de-sac drive, and that would eliminate any opportunity for further subdivision of property off of private drive.
I don't know if I have the answer to your question, but I think that what they want to do is to move that property line, because I understand you're showing here, it shows an easement there, and then it shows a driveway that's more to the right of that easement, so they want to physically move that property line to where the existing driveway is, for that to be absorbed for access for the parcel in the back.
Ms. Patrick, you have anything to add to that? Is that correct?
That's correct.
It's stated on the second application. Proposed use. But
The easements become part of the lot, and that's what you're trying to do.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I understood.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? All right, well, if there's no other discussion, gentlemen, I have a motion and a second. Commissioner May?
Yes.
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 Just inform Mr. Hall, Mr. Hall did it.
Our next result request was for Mr. Robert Thomas. Mr. Thomas was a no-show at the planning and zoning meeting, so therefore you consider the withdrawal.
Thank you, sir.
Okay? Items 4, 5, and 6 were taken up in one vote. Area Harbor, not for Sandra Yarborough, question to rezone her 2 acres from A2 to AR to allow a portion of land from adjoining property to be absorbed into the tract and enlarge the parcel. The property is located at 678 Veterans Drive in Danielsville, District 2. Gabriel Harbin, applicant for Patricia Chandler and Lynn Adams, is requesting to rezone the 10 acres from A2 to AR to allow a portion of property to be sold and absorbed into neighbors' adjoining property. The property is located at 0 Veterans Drive in Danielsville, District 2. Gary Harbin, applicant for Patricia Chandler and Lynn Adams, is requested to rezone their properties consisting of 3.92 and 0.50 acres from A2 to AR to allow to be combined with the adjoining property for approximately 12.42 acres and then divided into 2 equal tracts for approximately 6.21 acres. The property is located at 0 Veterans Drive in Danielsville, map 54, parcel 17 and 18 in District 2. No one came forward to speak in favor of, no one came forward to speak in opposition to. Planning and zoning recommended approval. With a vote of 5-0 with 1 abstaining. That particular request.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Harbin, you're here on behalf of Ms. Shorter, so.
I am, if y'all have any questions, I know it's a lot going on, but we're simplifying it a little bit, so.
Anybody here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anybody here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor and bring it back before the board. Gentlemen will entertain a motion. Is everybody clear on what all this was said? All right.
For the sake of information of the board, make it covered and I have not related to that. So, he is named people there.
All right. And with that being said, I'd like to also ask the board to entertain making this one vote for items 4, 5, and 6 in one motion.
I will do so. Recommend approval of these rezone requests as presented, items 4, 5, and 6.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler. I have a second, gentlemen. Second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Just for the record also, I'm not related to the Adams.
Anybody else not related? That's good, though. That's good. All right, gentlemen, thank you. If there's no other discussion, Commissioner Kirk?
Yes.
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 Motion carries, sir.
Number 7. Lisa Elder, applicant for her mother, Corey LeBron Haley, is requesting to rezone her 4.2 acres from AR to R1. Split the property into approximately 2 equal tracts to sell one and retain the other. The property is located on 181 Hanley Road in Hull, on map 27, parcel 63 in District 1. No one came forward to speak for approval. No one came forward to speak in opposition. The planning and zoning voted to recommend, vote of 5-1 for approval.
Thank you, sir. All right, Ms. Elder, or who's doing the speaking? Would you like to let us know exactly what you're doing? Please state your name and address for the record.
Lisa Elder, my address, 695 Williams Wilson Road.
Okay.
My mom's acreage, the way it runs. This is my house here. We've been here for like almost 40 years. My parents' house is here. They've been there for over 60 years. And this is all gathered here. There's the barn here. It's all together. We were wanting to split it because I live here. My mom has dementia. We had to put her in a care home. So we're trying to shelter this property across the road, but we're not concerned with that. But to divide it up so I could continue to have my home for 40 years and be able to sell her property, be able to keep her in a care home. She has dementia and she's no longer there.
All right. Thank you. Anyone here to speak in favor of? Anyone here to speak in opposition of? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen will entertain a motion.
Motion is request be approved.
Motion by Commissioner Adams. Do we have a second, gentlemen? Second by Commissioner May. Any discussion, gentlemen?
I'd like to say something. I think part of this, the applicant noted that the length of time that the two homes have been there. So I think that plays into a key component of this request. Long time, prior to any zoning, that's how two houses came to be on, or at least my understanding, two houses came to be on one lot. So I think it's very key and very important to understand that. And while I don't think the R1 zoning is appropriate for the area, and we'll support it in the age of the request and the application, I guess one question I would have is there a stipulation that would be entertained that would reduce these lots if we ever amend the R1 stump to a different classification or acreage, that we would limit this split to what we see for the request today.
Yes, yeah. Wait, 2 questions. I did not get how the P and Z voted on that.
5-1 to approve.
5-1 for approval.
And, Ms. Elder, just so that we can round out the conversation related to longevity in this, is your brother on the home on the corner there? Okay, so this was one, yes, so it was at one time, one piece. Yes, yes, thank you.
So, Mr. Doster, is that a condition of?
Yes.
That's my suggestion to men, if that's acceptable.
It's, the motion needs to be that we will approve this with the stipulation that the property would not be divided.
Subject to approval.
Like trying to make it lower?
Yes,
Yes.
that's,
Like trying to make it to 1 acre or something like that?
Yes.
Splitting it, you know,
yes, that's okay.
that's what that's what the R1 is, right? 2 acres was previously.
Yes.
So it'd be 2 acres. And let me ask you this, Mom, in here. So, because we have it down as selling one and retaining the other, if we decide to sell both properties, that's not gonna matter, is it?
You just can't come back and ask for it to go lower.
Right, okay. That was one of the questions that my brother was trying to say, well, maybe they can go lower, and I'm like, well, you ain't got this far yet.
No,
Okay. And so, so does this go like into immediate effect, and we go ahead and start surveying and so forth, or do we have to do anything?
after we vote tonight, you will, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but after we vote tonight, you can have the property surveyed, and then you'll have to get a
So,
plat filed,
right,
but you're done with us after tonight.
You got 6 months to get that plat
Yes.
recorded.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So I have an amended motion on the table. Correct, Dennis, or
Yes.
Commissioner Adams? The second is for the amended motion, I'm sorry, second for the amended motion. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner Doster.
If you got more discussion.
That's right.
Appreciate Commissioner Doster's comments, again, concerned about our going out there. There are several very small lots right at that crossroad, that crossroad in the community. So in that one specific area, it's probably not so much out of character as you think.
All right, Commissioner Doster.
Yes.
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 Yes, ma'am, motion carries.
David and Deborah Painter are requesting to rezone a portion of the 5 acres from A1 to R1 to allow an approximate 2 acre split to retain, with the remaining 3 acres to be sold and absorbed into the neighbors adjoining A1 property. The property is located at 153 Highway 172 in Cobb, map 71, parcel 008D in District 5. Mr. Samuel Weaver came forward to speak in favor of the request. No one came forward to speak in opposition. The Planning and Zoning voted to recommend approval for 6-0 vote.
Thank you, sir. Mr. and Ms. Painter, are you comfortable with that? Come on, sir. Just state your name and address for the record, sir.
David Painter, 157 Highway 172, Culver.
Long time no see.
Yes, sir. Nice to see you again. What I'm trying to do is, I own both properties. They're both agriculture. I had a gentleman approach me to purchase my home. He was hoping to get 8 acres with the home. So what we were going to do, we have an easement that comes in right now. There used to be a trailer right here that shared the easement. My house that he wants to buy is right here. So what he wants, all this land here has been recently made residential. It's Tumble Creek subdivision. He is concerned that because this is residential, he fears encroachment and wants that buffer zone. So what he's wanting to do is put that 3 acres, there was a stipulation made that he would take those 3 acres, put it with the 5 that the house is on, which would give him 8 acres. Debbie and I are gonna hold on to this 2 acres and build a home on it, a much smaller retirement home. So we would continue to share the same drive. This land here that would be touching it is already residential. We have no plans of, building a subdivision or doing anything. If y'all would have passed that thing earlier tonight, I wouldn't have to do this, but, we're hoping to get 2 acres-ish, and he wants the 3 acres here. So I think the stipulation was that we had a survey, showing that we got rid of this line, made this all agriculture, and made this residential, so we could build our home.
He will more than likely.
The person that came to speak in favor was a resident that lived right here, and he was upset that so much building is going on right there. They're just squeezing all those houses wherever they can squeeze them in. And so he was afraid when he saw the rezoning sign that we were gonna try to squeeze more houses. Once I told him that we weren't, he even offered me cash for that 3 acres, because he wanted to buy it, because he also wants to make sure that no other homes are snuck in this area to encroach. Because this gentleman who's buying my house also owns 30-some acres here, 4-some acres here, but he just wants to have a nice little land. So,
It would, which more than likely, when he purchases it, he'll probably come back before us to put those parcels together.
Right, what I did is I tried to speak on his behalf at the first meeting, and that was very difficult because, I can't make him.
Yeah.
I can only speak.
Which will end up being a legal non-conforming.
So he should purchase it within the 6 months time frame that I have to present the surveys. So our goal is him close on his house in Oconee County, him pay cash for my house. All within 6 months, we get a surveyor to come in, put all these lines together so that the new survey shows 2-acre residential, 8 acres agriculture. That's
Yes, I think the appropriate motion would be to rezone approximately 2 acres to R1 on condition that the remaining approximately 3 acres be combined by a recorded plat with the neighboring property.
2 acres as designated.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a survey, that's why I say approximately.
Yeah, about where that trailer is where we're hoping. That trailer was here, and we're gonna probably put our house back in, so.
All right. Now, as far as getting that plat showing the combination, that'll be between the painter and his,
Yeah, if we can't get it together, we won't present anything in the 6-month time, and it'll just get gone. Right?
yes, just subject to reversion at that point.
Yeah.
All right, anyone here to speak in favor of? Anyone here to speak in opposition of? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, then we'll entertain a motion.
We got a procedural question before we make the motion, please.
Yes,
On that map right there, that's in our packet, the little Z shape that's in between the property lines,
Z-bar?
that typically indicates that property line will go away.
That's the hope.
Okay. But now, right where your finger was, there's an additional one that's to the northwest that's on that line. So is that just a mistake on the drawing, or?
Well, I think when I was talking with everybody, see, he owns that property also, and it's also agriculture. So I don't know if he's planning on making the 3, the 5, and the 35 all into one big piece of property or not. But to make it conform to what Mr. Pruitt said, being that we're bringing it down to 2 acres, the only way we could do that was to get this residential and put, this would be 8 acres, which would fit the minimum acreage requirement. What he plans on doing, when I get with him and we sell, it's going to be these 2 pieces of property. He can come before you guys and decide what he wants to do with all his other acreage. But he's not a builder, he's a hunter.
I don't think we was aware that he owned the 35 acres also. I think that was probably where that Z-bar was confused.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question, sir?
It does, I mean, that is not germane to your action.
Correct,
It's
yes,
what I'm-
sir.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to clarify.
All right. Gentlemen will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with the stipulation of the, joining the parcel, which rearrange the property lines. Good. We started with 2 lots, we ended with 2 lots, so.
So we're talking about the approximately 2-acre portion that is identified. I second that motion. As stipulated.
I have a motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any other discussion doing? All right. Commissioner Adams?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Pioneer carries.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Scott?
Sir, number 9. Correct. Brad Emily Batcho, requesting conditional use to allow the construction or operation of a meat processing facility on their 30.55 acres. Property is located at 0 Highway 172, Como map 82, parcel 052-A1, District 5.
Point of order, I believe that's District 4. My district doesn't cross it, 194.
Okay.
He's District 4.
That's right. Welcome, Brian.
I already had somebody call me.
Sorry for that. I missed that.
That's all.
Okay.
Clarify.
Okay. Mr. Batcho, addressed the board and answered questions. No one came forward to speak for this particular rezone request. Mr. Sam Clayholm voiced concerns and had questions. Rick Easto spoke in opposition. There was a lot of discussion about decel lanes and flood plains and all this kind of stuff, but after much consideration, the planning and zoning voted 6-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Batcho, or come forward. Anything you would like to give us, any more details on that?
No, we kind of talked, he was worried about the driveway. So we called DOT and spoke to Ethan, something like that. If we move the driveway down just a little bit, there's not a site issue on the driveway, so that's what we're gonna do. And that's the only thing that I've seen that I really needed to check on.
So, let me go ahead and see if anybody's here to speak in favor of. Anyone here to speak in opposition of. You'll have an opportunity, sir. We'll go ahead through this formality and then we'll bring you back up again.
Okay.
Come ahead, sir.
Okay. Hi, my name is Neil Mathis. I live at 10418 Nowhere Road. My friend, Sam Cleghorn, is not able to be here. I told him I would stand on his behalf and speak in opposition of this on accounts of the things that he had already noted, and there were several things that are of concern here. And so Sam is in opposition of it, and I'll stand with him in this opposition of this request.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in opposition? All right. Mr. Batcho, you're welcome to come back up. I will say that Mr. Cleghorn did reach out to me also yesterday. He's got an epileptic son or something, had to take him to Atlanta today, so he couldn't make it, but just for the record, he did state that he was in opposition.
When I lived, he was home, I didn't know if he was coming or not. We had talked a little bit, but.
So there was a couple of concerns, and I'm going to state those because it's a little concerning to me too. And one of the things that I referenced was because I grew up on that lake down the other end.
Right.
That area down, some of that 30 acres is a bog. It's a swamp type area.
Right.
And I expressed to him, yes, sir, on the 30-acre portion, around the road frontage right in there of that 30 acres. And I told him that there was several factors that would not play into this vote tonight. One is EPD, EPA for the processing, and DOT. We don't have any control over those. That would be between you and them and perk test, so forth and so on. But I just wanted for the record to let you know what I told him that was outside the power of the Board of Commissioners. Okay. Was a question in my mind only, it's just a question. Was there any reason that we didn't move it back up by back up for the rest of the poultry farm and stuff like that?
Well, I think that's where my cows and everything are.
Gotcha.
And I breed horses too, so I got the stallion and.
Gotcha. All right. That's all the questions I have, gentlemen.
And my kids play right there too, so I don't want the traffic, you know. And we're not doing nothing with the 30 acres, that's on the other 40.
Yes, sir.
So that's the only thing that'll be on that 30 acres?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
And as far as the lowlands are right in here, and then where the lake picks up, but right in here, it's 60-some foot above that.
Yeah. But without a site plan, it's really hard to say, and the reason I say that is because it is the waters of the state, and there is going to be setbacks off of that that EPD is going to require you, which is not part of us, as long as you meet our setbacks. There is one other thing that I just wanted to make note to you about the CUBA on that property. Because the letter, we have letter of intent, says we'll offer custom cut meats, then you'll breach your CUBA when you go into production for the public.
We're not doing just well, I mean, what does that mean again? Say that again.
So right now, you're under conservation.
Right. Right, you're right, so we gotta breach that and pay that back.
That's right.
Right.
You have to pay it back. I'm just making you aware that there is a CUBA on it, and that breach will come if you open the facility to the public.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just making sure you're aware of all these.
We talked to him and we know what we gotta pay.
All right. Floor is closed. It's back before the board. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Mr. Kirk. Second, gentlemen. Second by Commissioner May. Any discussion, gentlemen?
This is essentially gonna be a meat market open to the public?
Just deer, and custom cuts, it's not gonna be USDA.
Gonna sell to the public?
No, a farmer can bring their cow to me, I can do custom cuts for them and deer. But it's not gonna be a facility where we're gonna have USDA in there to sell to the public. They can bring their animal to me, and they have to take that back.
Yes, I understand that.
I do have some, and I don't know what's the best way to answer this, have some concern with particular location to show here. I get the wetlands issue, and you get that, all going to have to come from it. I mean, there's a lot of permitting through the Department of Ag for the level of processing that you're talking about. I am concerned about the distance. I get the note here that we're 400 feet from a home, but I am concerned about the distance from that adjacent property line, particularly with all the rest of the acreage it is here to grant the opportunity to be a little better neighbor by being further away. I'm concerned about that location.
For Sam?
Yeah.
I mean, I could definitely move it over. When we did the site plan, it wasn't like set in stone. We were just clearing the property out. And, I mean, I'm not set in that location. That is where the hill is. Right in here is where the hill starts to decline. So I didn't want to really be over there. But, I mean, I can definitely move it over just a little bit. I mean,
But
to the middle.
It's concerned for mine about being good neighbors. And it's probably not going to be a lot. There will be some smell, flies, nuisance kind of stuff, just because of the nature of the business. And just want to make sure that we do what we can to be as considerate of others as possible. So Commissioner Kirk, I don't know if you want to consider a site plan review.
You said you're gonna have to move it due to the entrance anyway, right?
Well, I was just gonna move the driveway, because where the driveway's coming right here, from what DOT told me, it's gotta be 610 feet of site. Which it's gonna be, when I build it off, it's like 620, but if I move the driveway down just a little bit, there is no obstructions on that curve at all. Because you can see all the way around this curve, and then when it goes back around, you can see the whole thing.
So can you move that, how far down can you move that to coincide with your driveway without causing?
I mean, I could move it probably, I guess another, I'd say 60 feet over, 70 feet before it starts kind of going down to where,
How many feet? So how much is it, would that be off of the line?
It's 120 feet down.
So it'd be about-
I was thinking further back in the property.
Oh, further back.
250, something, maybe something like that.
Right, could you? Are we moving this to a business? No, it's allowed, it's allowed.
Conditional use.
It's agricultural. It's allowed as a conditional use. Right.
That's one reason that, you know, I'm looking at it as it fits the use. Now, location of it would be better if it was further back and further over, away from that line.
Right.
I think then everybody would be much
If I go
with it.
I mean, I could probably move it back, maybe, I'd say 50 feet maybe, but if I go too much further on that, that's where it goes into my lake.
That's right.
So I don't wanna be into that. And then, as far as how I plan to run fill lines or whatever the specs are gonna be on that, this is all my property over here too. This is mine, so I was just gonna take them and run them that way,
Mike,
which is still high.
Mike, is there if the Board of Commissioners approves a condition of this, could it be based on approval of a site plan review?
By who, using what standards?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, as long as you meet our county setbacks and.
Right. From what I understand, I'm gonna try to bring it with what you're saying is you're amenable to moving it, I'm just gonna say 50 feet additional, which puts it right about 180 feet off the property line. I'm looking at the aerial photo, and that property line is tree line, there's trees down there.
I've been clearing it out, but yeah, there's still some.
Is there, have you wiped them all out, or can we leave a kind of a natural buffer there just as a?
There's actually not that many trees on that line. I'd say his house is another.
Yeah, I'm just trying, just a screening, that's what I was trying.
I mean, like I said, I'm not setting that specific spot, we just had to do it to get it resurveyed and, you know, I don't have a problem moving it here or there, however it works for everybody, you know.
Well, I mean, like Terry had said, it's just a good neighbor type thing.
Right.
And I don't know how we can propose that. I guess that's what you were getting at, Derek. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the site plan shown, so I mean, I guess you know, from what I understand in your conversation, being amenable to at least having that unit for the building about 150 feet, or 180 feet off the property line, give us a little additional buffer there, that's flexible.
Yeah.
So you could have a motion to approve it on condition that the nearest point of the building be no closer than 180 feet to the common property line.
Part of your condition, right?
And planted buffers also.
All right, so we want some planted buffers. Can you do that?
Yep.
All right, so approve it. I make a motion to approve with no point of the, I guess what do you call it, the facility? Structure, 180 feet, okay, no closer. and then a buffer zone between the property line of Mr. Fleckman. And I guess, do we want to specify how much or just?
What would a buffer zone be as far as if I'm out of the property line, 1 to 80, what kind of buffer zone are we talking about?
Tracy, we have an ordinance that states what that buffer zone looks like as far as foliage,
Okay.
trees or bushes. We require them up here in Danielsville, so if you'll just make that motion to provide that foliage buffer.
Foliage buffer.
Honestly, I don't know if we have if there's a buffer required in the ordinance for this.
We can use the one that's required for poultry houses.
Okay, if you have one, you can refer to it.
7.1.1.3. It defines a little better. In fact, it specifies what it would be, 7.1.1.3.
So with specifying the buffer, it's specified in
7.1,
whatever it is over there.
All right, so I have a motion and a second, with amended motion and a second, with the two conditions of 180-foot from structure with the buffer as submitted, as described, which is on record, of course, we're going to repeat it. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Sorry. Thank you. All right, hearing no other discussions on you, sir? Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Here, sir.
Thank you for working with us.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just threw my, my mind for a minute. What's that?
All right, gentlemen. 10, 11, and 12. Taken in one vote. Quite lengthy, so be very careful. James A. Strickland is requesting to rezone his 5.29 acres from A to AR to allow approximately 0.55 of an acre to be combined with adjoining property to give to his son. The property is located at 79 Cole Strickland Road in Hull, map 14, parcel 58, District 1. Mr. Strickland is also requesting to rezone his 22.72 acres from A1 to AR/A2. He's rezoning an approximate 2.51 acre portion from A1 to AR to combine with adjoining to give to his son and to rezone the remaining acres from A1 to A2 to bring into compliance. The property is located at 191 Cole Strickland Road, Hull, District 1. Brett Strickland, which is his son, is requesting to rezone his 1.56 acres from A1 to AR to allow the absorption of approximately 0.55 and 2.1 acres from his father to adjoining properties to this property as a gift for a total of 4.62 acres. The property is located at 1293 Lucky Jones Road in Hull on map 14, parcel 59, District 1. No one came forward to speak in favor of, no one came forward to speak in opposition to. The board voted to approve the rezoning of the 5.29 acres from A1 to A2, from A2 to AR to allow approximately 0.55 of an acre to be combined with adjoining property to give to his son. They also voted to approve the approximate 2.1 acre portion from A1 to AR to combine with adjoining property to give to his son and rezone the remaining acreage from A1 to A2 to bring into compliance. The board also voted to approve the 1.65 acres from A1 to AR to allow absorption of 0.55 and 2.1 acres from his father's adjoining property into his property as a gift of a total of 4.62 acres. Planning and zoning voted to recommend the Board of Commissioners by a 6-0 vote to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Hopefully that's
I
clear.
think I missed that first one. Would you start over? Bert, how in the world did y'all come up with this? That's all I gotta ask.
Oh, him.
All right. Lord have mercy. Anyone here to speak in favor of? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Mr. Strickland, did he do a good enough job?
I believe he did.
Okay, we'll let that ride then. We'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, entertain a motion, gentlemen.
I make a motion to request 10, 11, and 12 be approved as stated.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams. Do I have a second?
Second motion.
I have a second by Commissioner Chan. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Just one question, to make sure I understand this correctly, my mind was a little simple on this, but essentially what we're talking about is those 3 parcels at the time will become one. There's
I couldn't hear you.
1.55, 1.56, and 2.51, and the net result, what we're doing is all of those will become one.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. That's it.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just a question to make sure I understood what was going on. When all this is over with, assuming everything's passed, and all 3 of those parcels will just become one.
Oh, mine, yes.
Yeah, they'll just be combined.
That's to get it all in.
Just make sure.
I split it up, been that way for years, about time to straighten it out.
I just want you to call me when you call a survey.
Oh, it's already surveyed. That's how you got those plants right there.
Well, thank you, sir. All right, no other questions. I don't, any other questions, gentlemen? All right. So I have a motion and a second. No other questions, gentlemen. Commissioner May, it's on you.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carried, my friend.
All right, number 13. Byron Sexton is requested to rezone his 11.18 acre from A to AR to allow a portion of land with an existing home to be split off to sell and to retain 7.17 acres. The property is located at 6163 Highway 174 in Danielsville, on map 61, parcel 31 in District 4. No one came forward to speak in favor of. No one came forward to speak in opposition to. The Planning and Zoning voted to recommend to the Board of Commissioners for approval by a 6-0 vote.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sexton, are you good with that, sir, or would you like to add anything for the record?
No, I'm good with it.
All right, thank you, sir. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of? Anyone speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve as stated.
I have a motion by Commissioner Kirk, do I have a second?
Second motion.
Second by Mr. Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Kirk.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, number 14. Josh Kimball, applicant for his mother, Lynn H. Bales, is requested to rezone her 5 acres from A1 to AR to allow a second home to be placed on the property as an accessory dwelling unit for her son. The property is located at 374 Haley Road in Thor. Map 47, parcel 17C of District 1. There was no one to come forward to speak for this particular rezone request. Although there were 5 persons that did come forward to speak in opposition. After this was done, we got, in fact, I got an email that said we did not know all the facts before we made the recommendation, before we voted. Well, that is true. But even though if we had known the facts, we don't consider that, which is a deed restriction. We don't restrict, we would consider that in our deliberations. So, with that being said, Planning and Zoning voted 5-1 to recommend approval.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Kimball, is there anything you'd like to add, sir?
Good evening, my name is Josh Kimball. I did prepare a statement, if that would be okay for everybody to read. Good evening, we are requesting to rezone this lot to bring it into county zoning compliance by moving it from A1 to AR. Once the lot is rezoned, we are wanting to add an additional dwelling unit to the property due to medical hardships, which is allowed under AR zoning. Currently living on the property is my mother, Lynn Bales, the property owner, and my grandmother, Shirley Bales. My grandmother is an 84-year-old widow whose mind is rapidly failing her, and in the near future, the burden of caring for her will be too much for my mother to handle on her own. I'm currently assisting my mother by maintaining the exterior of her property and landscaping to keep the property in ideal condition. Additionally, my mother will soon be 60 years old, and she has lifelong medical issues. In addition to having her hip replaced 12 years ago, she suffers from severe osteoarthritis and TMJ. These two conditions alone have resulted in her having 9 jaw surgeries and an experimental total jaw replacement surgery. In the near future, she will also need to undergo surgeries for her to have her other hip and both knees replaced. I am her only child, so it will be my sole responsibility for me to care for her during her recovery and to help my grandmother going forward. I myself suffer from type 1 diabetes and suffer from occasional low blood sugars, and me being on property with my family will assist in case of an emergency. The structure we're looking to add to the property is a modular home that is 1,760 square feet. This square footage falls under the requirements for an additional dwelling unit, as it is 89 square feet smaller than the primary residence at 2,049 square feet. The structure will be gray in color to match the existing structure as it has a gray metal roof. The foundation will be red masonry brick to continue matching the aesthetics of the property. The home is built to the same standards as any site-built home, following all code enforcement set by the county and state. The interior will have full sheetrock throughout the home, just as any site-built home would have. We are trying our best to be considerate and accommodating to all of our neighbors. We will be sharing one existing driveway that is not that is on the lot already, and we will not be making any changes near the road frontage. The new structure will be placed at the back corner of the lot, with the narrow end of the home facing the road. The width of the visible portion of the structure will be 28 feet. The entire property is surrounded by established Leland cypresses trees that are over 30 feet tall and border 3 sides of the entire property. These trees will obstruct the view of this new structure from neighbors to either side and behind us. Additionally, my mom went in to speak to some of the neighbors that would be affected, and at the time she received no objections from any of the neighbors after she told them our plans, even though some of them may be here tonight. To tell you about myself and my family, I've been a Madison County resident my entire life. I currently work for the University of Georgia for over 10 years. My wife works as a surgical technician for a local doctor. I've been there for 5 years. We're a quiet family. We don't like causing any trouble, or, we're just a normal family. Now, I do want to address some of the concerns that was brought up in the last meeting. Some neighbors were concerned that the lot size would no longer be 5 acres. We are not splitting the lot, we are only adding this additional structure to the property. The entire property will remain whole and the sole ownership of my mother. The entire property will be willed to me after her passing. Some neighbors were concerned about decreased property values by us adding this additional structure. According to realtors that I spoke to and loan officers, the additional dwelling will not decrease any property values, but only increase my mother's property value. This past weekend, on Saturday, March 2nd, one of the neighbors who was objecting to the rezoning and the additional dwelling came over to my mother's house to speak to her. They presented her with a copy of the original land deed from 1999 that the original owner had signed when purchasing the lot. The deed has a list of restrictions for the lot on Hanley Road. This neighbor knew we were unaware of any restrictions placed on any lots and did not want us to be surprised when it was brought up during this meeting. We do appreciate their honesty by giving us this documentation. When my mother was purchasing the house, no one made her or I aware that the lot had any restrictions on the property. The last thing my mother would want would be to live under an HOA style property. I personally was at the closing for the property, and I can confirm that there was no restrictions mentioned during the closing. Before starting this process, the zoning office did not make us aware of any restrictions. When we informed them what we wanted to do with my mom's property, and we were told everything we wanted to do was legal. During the last public meeting on this matter, we were not informed of any of these restrictions either. This morning, my mom was reviewing her closing documents in preparation for this hearing. According to our seller's property disclosure agreement with the offer date of 9/21/2018, the covenants, fees, and assessments section, page 11, section C, subsection 2A, states that the property is not subject to any recorded declaration of covenants, conditions, or restrictions. Additionally, subsection 2B states this property is not part of a condominium or any community in which there is a community association. I do have a copy of the seller's agreement. I have photos and floor plans of the house if y'all would like to see what we will be adding. I have seller's agreement here that states that. We were told by the closing lawyer today, about 4 o'clock, that any restrictions placed on that property when the property was transferred ownership, those restrictions are no longer valid. So that was all I had.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. I'm going to open the floor. You will have an opportunity to come back and answer any questions. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Yeah. All right.
I'm Dennis Smith, live at 488 Hanley Road, beside Ms. Bales, and he's correct about those restrictions. When the Gunnels, Jimmy, Craig, and some of the others sold that property, which is a big tract of farmland, their restrictions were on each 5 acres, plus or minus 12 acres. And Ms. Wardlaw, when she purchased the property from the Gunnels, she knew of those restrictions and she agreed to them and abided with them for probably 18 years that she lived there. So I'm thinking that when this was filed at the courthouse back on 11/6/2018, that would have been recorded and those restrictions would have followed the next resale of that property. And I think Josh mentioned about some of those restrictions. I don't remember if they read them out, but I think it's about 13 restrictions. And the first restriction is probably, I guess, the most meaningful to us, as it being number 1. It says that each lot shall be used as a single-family residential lot only, and the lot may not be subdivided. Only site-built homes shall be erected on the property. And the second restriction is no trailer, mobile home, tent, shack, garage, barn, other outside buildings erected in the tract shall at any time be used as a temporary or permanent residence, nor shall any structure be used as a residence. The other thing that Josh mentioned was his, mobile home, I think it was 1,740 feet. And the third restriction down here is each dwelling erected shall have a minimum of 1,800 square feet. So, this is all on, book, something or other.
So to keep from, I'm sure everybody's gonna pretty much come forward with the same deed restrictions, and I just want, for clarity to everyone, after conferring with council today, HOAs, covenant restrictions, even deed restrictions are not enforceable by the county. That is a civil statement. So in other words, what I'm saying is no matter what those deeds and or HOA covenants say, that's nothing that the Board of Commissioners can use to vote to approve or deny. Council, am I correct?
Yes, sir, you're correct. Restricted covenants and zoning are two different things. Zoning is a public matter for the public benefit and is enforced by the local government. Restricted covenants are a private matter imposed for the benefit of private landowners and are enforceable by the landowners who benefit from them. And there's lots of law about interpretation and enforcement and expiration or not expiration of restricted covenants. So we don't get into that. So if this rezone is approved, that does not that has no effect on those restricted covenants. They still are just as binding or not binding as they were before this board voted. But it's up to, again, the landowners who are the beneficiaries of those covenants to enforce them.
So it would have to go to the civil court.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. He could have explained it better, and I could. That's the reason I wanted him to be able to do that. I just didn't want anybody to get confusion on whatever this board votes today, thinking that we're held liable of those. This was unaware to me. I thought HOA covenants was one thing. I thought deed restrictions was something else. It turns out they're basically the same verbiage by law. I wasn't aware of that. I talked to a gentleman on the phone. I want to say Mr. Mathis may have been who I spoke to, and I told him that deed restriction, if that was so, if it was in that, the Board of Commissioners have to follow that. I have been since informed that we do not follow that. That still doesn't affect pass or fail. I just want you to know, in case anybody comes forward stating the same thing. But go ahead. You're welcome to finish.
No, that's all. Anything else y'all need to know from me?
No, sir.
Oh, another thing about those cypress trees, yeah, they're about 20 years old, but I don't think they've got that much lifespan to them. You know. Eventually, they're going to be coming down.
Gotcha. Thank you. Anybody else here to speak in opposition of it? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Alan Camp, 495 Hanley Road, just catty corner from the rezoning question. While we would like for y'all to consider please denying this request, the precedent that it will set, we are worried once this door is open. I know mentioned earlier today the unintended consequences that it may bring. So if the deed restrictions are not in y'all's privy anymore, please consider what this precedent may lead to in the future. Again, the unintended consequences. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. For council, Mr. Pruitt.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I know the request is for a rezone from A1 to AR, and that's only to come into compliance with the zoning, but the actual question is a conditional use for an accessory dwelling.
So I don't think it's a conditional use.
Well, it's not necessarily conditional use, but they're asking for an accessory dwelling, which really has nothing to do with the A1 to AR. That's just to come into conformity, correct?
Well, I mean, the whole reason they're initiating this, I think, is because you cannot have an ADU in the current zoning, but you can in AR.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you for the clarity. Anyone else here to speak in opposition? Yes, sir.
Hi.
My name is Neil Mathis, 10418 Nowhere Road. And even though we are very much sympathetic to your situation, still in opposition of this is like Alan stated, of opening a door for other people that may buy other lots and say, okay, this is a high density, they've already opened the door for it to be a high density neighborhood. So that's what we are in opposition of. That's what I'm in opposition of it turning into a high density neighborhood. And we bought, we have actually 23 acres, but those lots are all 5 acres. And as I expressed at the rezoning commission meeting, that each of those people bought those 5 acres to where they weren't going to be on top of each other as you would in a subdivision. Nothing against subdivision, but each of us bought out there to have that space, and that's why I'm in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else speak opposition?
Hey, I'm Sherry Hardegree. We live at 282 Hanley Road. And my concern is this. We really hope this is voted down tonight because, like you said, when we bought out there, the reason we bought there and bought that 5 acres is to have our own space. And another thing, too, if it is passed, we can't be 100% sure what may go there. I mean, there's always the what ifs. And if, like Dennis and Neil both have said, if we allow, everything out there is stick built, at least 1,800 square feet. And if we allow, and I know this day and time, mobile homes are nice. I mean, they look like homes, but they're not. They're not stick built. And, if we let one go out there, then who's to say, like they had mentioned, we may have 1 or 2 others that go on the same lot. I mean, we just don't have any guarantee if it's voted in what will actually happen, when it's all said and done. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else to speak in opposition?
Hi, I'm John Robinson at 421 Hanley Road. I live across the road from basically, I'm coming up here to express my opposition, basically on the same reasoning that all of them have already expressed. So I'm not going to recount that, but I hope you guys vote no. Thank you.
Thank you for your input, sir. Anyone else in opposition?
Becky Mathis, 10418 Nowhere Road. My husband already spoke. But can I just get clarification on the restriction? Because I was told by Christopher Nichols' office and by Graham and Associates that those restrictions are still in place on that property. Even though it changed hands, that it's still in place. So I'm not sure if we could just get clarity on that.
So, it may be better for council, but they are both correct. The restrictions are still in place on the property, but it's not an enforceable restriction of the county, nor is it a restriction of the county's vote to whether, if this board votes, let's just say to approve it, then it becomes a civil matter between the property owners. Council?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
But yes, they are still living, breathing documents.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? He kicked on that time. All right. Mr. Kimball.
I can turn it, hang on.
No, I said I was about to.
I'm just glad it works. Mr. Kimball, would you like to address any of those, sir?
Yes, there, a big concern that they're having is precedent. I think the precedent that set here would be a son caring for his family, not anything else more than that. And they've talked about these zoning restrictions. We've spoke with Chris's office today, and he said that those restrictions do not apply. And I know you did not hear that portion of it. But if they're so concerned about these restrictions, there are multiple neighbors in this road that have and are breaking those covenants and restrictions themselves. So they have multiple additional dwellings on property additional buildings on property that if we have to live by these restrictions, then they do, and they will have to demo buildings. There's neighbors that have chickens on property, which they would have to get rid of. There are neighbors that have cars that are non-running for well more than 60 days. Those would have to be towed and removed from property. So all we're asking is if we just want to worry about us and let them do what they want to do, and we hope that is returned back to us. Like I said, we're just trying to take care of the families.
All right. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor?
Me. I'm Lindale. I spoke to Christopher Nichols' office today. He did my closing. And he went through my closing records and these restrictions. And he said they're no longer in effect, that they expired after the property was transferred from the Wardlaws to, from him to his wife when he passed away. So when she sold the property to me, they were not even in effect at that point. And like I said, they don't affect zoning to begin with. That they could take it to civil court, but these restrictions have expired and they wouldn't have a leg to stand on because they're not in effect. We never intended for this to happen. I never meant to make all my neighbors mad at me. All I want to do is take care of my family. And now I'm hated by the whole neighborhood. But regardless, I still got to take care of my mother, who I can't do it by myself. And I need to take care of my son, who's a type 1 diabetic. And that's all I want to do. And the AR and discounting allows for medical exemptions for things like this. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, if there's anybody else in favor?
Can I speak on opposition?
No, we don't redo opposition.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's in favor. I think we get the point. Thank you, by the way, for everybody, thank you. With that being said, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board, gentlemen, will entertain a motion.
I have a question, Tracy, or Columbus, or some P&Z members. Is there a particular reason why we didn't look at 845.2 for humanitarian reasons, a manufactured home may be located temporarily on the lot? And it gives us some particulars, medical doctor, setbacks. So is there a reason that this was not looked at would have prevented all of this? It was.
And the gentleman does not want to remove the home. Now, our medical hardship, you can have a second home, but once the medical hardship expires, it has to move, and he's not wanting to remove that home.
Can I speak?
No, unless
y'all can ask people questions.
Yeah, he's asking
you want to, but
are you asking a question, Tracy?
Before the hearing's over.
Well, I was asking Tracy why we didn't consider that. There's a reason
He was asking P&Z.
Yes, sir. Do you want to ask the applicant a question?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm in a chair.
But if you'd like to address that, I'd be interested in don't want to know why that would not serve the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish.
Well, the medical hardship, I mean, to be fair, I don't know how long it's going to last.
Obviously, so it's renewable. I mean, it's not like they're 12 months out. It's renewable. It just has to have doctor's letter until the hardship comes along.
I mean, no one explained that to us. They just said medical hardship, and that's what we've gone with. This is why we're doing it.
So would that, in your mind, serve your purpose?
If we're able to place that home there, then yes.
Again, this states a manufactured home may be located temporarily. So the implication would be in situations like this where expect that it would not normally be allowed, it would be allowed temporarily as long as that need is existing. And then once the need no longer exists,
And if that's what we need to do to make this happen, that's fine with us.
if that suits everybody involved, to me, that's a lot better solution.
And, you know, once my mother passes, then if we need to move that home off the property, fine. We'd be fine with that. Then sell it or push it over, whatever we need to do.
Okay. But that might answer my question. I just was curious why that wasn't considered.
Yeah, like I said, we're here to take care of my family. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any other questions?
If I may just interject again, the medical hardship would be a matter of zoning, if granted. It wouldn't have anything to do with the covenants may or may not permit it. That would be up to the neighbors to try to enforce if they think that's it prohibits it.
So in the case tonight, let's say if we voted to deny the reasonable request, the applicant could still make a request based on 8.542.
Oh, yes.
And the zoning would not change.
Correct. I mean, well, tonight, you got a zoning application,
sure.
so you got, either he withdraws it or you deny it for that to play out.
So that was just my question. Hadn't been much.
I'm sorry. I think that's what I was trying to ask a minute ago. Do we have to do the rezone if you get the medical hardship with it?
Sure, but it's just under, it's a lot more restricted.
Very much so.
That's up to the homeowner.
Yes, sir. Anybody else? Gentlemen, before, well, I've already asked for a motion. Go ahead. I've entertained a motion.
I'll make a motion to speak.
Second motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams and a second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Yes, I was not aware of these restrictions, and it really doesn't have any bearing on how I perceive this to be. What I do see here is we have had a number of debates regarding accessory dwellings on sites, and what's allowed, what's not allowed, why it's allowed, why it's allowed, why it's not allowed. Not in this particular instance, but, you know. But what I've done, and I'm well aware that this is the second one on the same road that we're talking about, and it's amazing. We look at homes that are 40, 50 years old on one end of the road, that the characteristics of that area are dramatically different than the characteristics of where these homes are at. You know, I mean, these homes, I think it would be conservative to say that they're in the $450 plus $1,000 range. And if you look at the homes, the request simply doesn't fit the neighborhood. I mean, in the fact that there are no residential auxiliary dwellings here. There are no modular, mobile homes, whatever, in this area. So I just don't see this as a fit for this particular area.
Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to stick my neck out and just on a legal point and respond to that, or maybe it's more of a planning point.
I'd appreciate it.
So this would appear to be a 5-acre lot surrounded by other 5-acre lots, more or less, mostly zoned A1 or A2. For the long term, maintaining non-conforming zoning designations so as not to allow ADUs is probably not the route to go. You need to revisit your ADU provisions instead.
We've got a consultant that's supposed to be working on a number of items right now, but in place this evening, we don't have it.
Good one.
I mean, much the same as the debate regarding whether to have 2 or 4 acre lots. Right. You know, and
Yeah, I agree. So, I guess I got the question, I guess this is for you. So if this is denied, then does the family here have the option to request that under the method? Because I don't understand, I don't know what stipulations are as far as, is that something that we have to vote upon, or is that just something that can be allowed?
They have to make their application to the planning and zoning office. Has to be a letter from a medical doctor stating the setbacks have to be complied with, approval of the health department for sewage disposal, 1 per lot. And when the special permit is issued and reviewed once a year.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, each year, part of that review is into medical certification.
To Commissioner Adams' point on whether or not this rezone is appropriate, we got, in my mind, there's a rezone we dealt with on Hudson River Church Road. It was very, very similar. It depends on where you look at where this parcel is in the picture on your screen. If I slide this parcel down to the lower part of the screen and look out, everything out that way is larger. And I understand the council's point that the restrictions are not part of our decision. I certainly understand that, and no argument to that. I'm actually aware that I knew the owners that set these up, and was very aware of the intent of this. And it states to me the intent of what they're trying to accomplish. Again, I understand these are not enforcement to us, but it solidifies to me that what they were trying to accomplish was larger parcels matching through there. So in my mind, it would be a mistake to rezone this to a different zone.
All right, gentlemen, I have a motion and a second.
And it does help to know that we can be understanding of the needs of applicants with the provision of 8.5.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Kirk.
So we deny, right?
This is a motion to deny.
So that's yes.
Yes would be to deny.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So you understand about the hardship. I need to go back and see Ms. Patrick and just discuss with her what the proper steps are.
I would have wore a long sleeve shirt. That's all. My blood thinners and everything. You mentioned that, Brian. Me and Dennis have too much medical.
Could you reach out to them?
No, I know.
Well,
Good thing is that's not. All right, gentlemen. Old business. Does anybody need a 5-minute?
Yeah.
All right, 5 minutes.
I
know, right?
I think interesting meetings are coming,
How are you? Good, how about you?
How are you? How are you?
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's the part where.
How you doing? Email me with your information. I want to talk to you about some sort of rabies vaccination. Yes, sir. See you tomorrow.
Kind of heard, yes or no.
interval calculus, second quarter, or still.
We haven't made a decision
So
yet,
at some point during the class, weeks in, I said, when it's over, I'm going to the registrar's office and get my money back, because I promised I ain't going to pay.
City of Carver, they have to verify cash, like,
Signed up yet? No, he said, well, I had to say, you better not put me out.
Well, they can't land you on.
Yeah.
After you laid it out, it's they show up.
You know, I think. I wouldn't have to take some pictures. I told
Jason's the guy.
It's still got me on the. Tracy, you're done, ain't you?
You got to tell y'all what it is, I guess.
Oh.
I don't know if it doesn't, but
Yeah, no, that's fine. I forgot they were still here.
yeah. I'm not going nowhere. I got right in the paper, I wasn't here last Monday. I ain't leaving tonight.
The only reason why it's.
All right, we're all back.
To say that they should not do it.
All right, we reconvened, ladies and gentlemen, old business, item number 5.
Not much to say.
You good, I'm just playing.
Consider approving the final plat for Nancy's Place subdivision. Long awaited. On this particular one, Jay, you did hear back from the IDA about the fire hydrant. If you haven't, I did.
I have not.
Okay, I called today.
Okay.
And they do want it full,
Okay.
capped or something,
That's fine.
just because.
Whatever
they
y'all
want
want, I'll
false
do it.
indication. Yes. I called Mark at 5:45 and I said, remember Jay saying something that he hadn't heard, so let me check. So with that being said, some changes has been made to the plat. Ms. Tracy, would you like to go through these?
Okay, sure.
And these were based off of request off the last meeting regarding the retention pond and the well.
And I can jump in if you'd like me to.
Sure.
It's really just
Yeah.
one change to the plat, and that's to mark off the detention pond as a separate area that will be part of the common areas owned and maintained by the homeowners association. The well area is just that little small square there, and according to, the attorney, that is not part of the 2 acres of that lot. And of course, the buffer area wouldn't be required to be subtracted anyway, just the well area itself.
I didn't have on glasses the other day, but I think it's noted in the big version.
Right. Well, it's on both of them. If you read right here, it says well lot, not included in lot 1.
Yeah, well, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
400 square feet.
Okay.
Check it out.
Thank you, I did not see that.
I can read this one.
Well, in case you can't, I brought a big one, just to make sure if y'all couldn't read something. We blew one up even bigger.
So, yeah. There's no, public forum for this because we've already held this.
No public hearing,
That's right.
ever required.
So with that being
Did we
said,
get the road improvement bonds
You did.
straightened out? Okay. Okay.
if there's any questions before the Board of Commissioners, feel free to ask those now.
Tracy, you feel satisfied with all the requirements of the
Yes,
final
yes,
plats
sir.
are
We
compliant?
submitted everything.
Thank you, Jay, for working to do this. Thanks,
I'm here for the improvement of Madison County just like y'all are.
And this is not a Jay question, this is a Mike question. How, as the development, and Jay's out of the picture, the development has come to fruition, the lots are sold, the homes are built, how do we, the Board of Commissioners, as the authority having jurisdiction in the county, how do they set up the HOAs or whatever the stipulations for perpetuity.
Right, so those are,
And here again, not a Jay question, it's just.
yeah, I mean, he does it all the time, but
Yeah.
I think I know how it works. So I think he's already actually submitted draft, protective covenants that include the creation of the homeowners association, how its members are selected, when they take over from the developer. I haven't read them typically. It's
Yes, the start.
Right, but that's how it happens, and then those are, so we talked earlier tonight at length about restrictive covenants. One of the exceptions to the 20-year expiration is if you have 15 lots or more, they can be renewable on every 20 years automatically. Now, this one's not 15 lots or more, so those protective covenants may only be able to last 20 years just by operation of the statute.
I just did not know.
Can I add to that?
I wished you would.
But what I found in the years of doing this is that if the majority of the homeowners in the homeowners association vote, they basically re-up those covenants for 20 more years. So before they expire, they can all agree, and the majority agree. And I really think it's either like a 60 or 80% majority. I can't remember what the number is. But they can vote on it, and if the majority agree, they can do it. They can extend those covenants, but at the same time, they could do away with those covenants and change them somewhat and renew them and keep them going.
I have one question. It just come to me a minute ago. On the 400 square feet for the well site, I know it's gonna be owned and operated by the HOA.
That's right.
But so there's no, that particular 400 square feet is not owned by any one person. So thinking future, if the county runs a water line down through there, and you decide to pick up this subdivision for fire protection, because then it would be, right, you gotta have 30,000 gallons, you know.
It'd be brought before the board,
It'd
the
be brought before
HOA
the
for a
HOA.
vote, and if they agree, which most likely I would say they would,
yes,
because nobody in the HOA really wants to be responsible for having to deal with it, but they're gonna have to deal with it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they get it, all they gotta do is vote by majority, let's hook it to the county and let them deal with it.
Gentlemen, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve final plat.
A motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Doster's on.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
That was easy. That was easy?
Yeah.
Only took a year?
Only took a year.
3.
He wants to back up.
Jay, would you like us to back up and start over?
No.
All right, sir. Item number 6. Consider a camper permit extension for Miss Mary Bridges located in District 4.
Yes,
Yes, Mary Bridges.
yes, I need to get an extension on the camper permit.
Okay. And what are you requesting, and what stage are you in your building process?
Okay, we still got another tree to go, because my home got destroyed last summer from the storm. Back in July, when all the trees, the wind came through, and blew trees down everywhere. And these are big one oak trees. One fell on one ended up in another home, and 2 on the other side, the back side. So my home is destroyed, and I'm having to stay in the camper.
So what have you done to?
They got one tree removed, and got a lot of debris and everything that hauled off. Had to get a big dumpster with a 40 capacity, I guess that's what it's called, a 40 ton.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm asking is.
Okay, how much have I gotten done? Still got another tree to get off the bat before you can even do anything to the,
Are you doing this out of pocket, or did you have insurance, or?
No, I didn't have no insurance.
Okay, so that's the reason the home still has trees on it a year round.
Yeah, and they do it. The only help I have is my son and I, you know, I mean,
All right.
don't have to,
And this happened on what date?
last year in July 20th.
All right. Mr. Pritchett,
Yes.
can you tell us where we're at with this, sir?
They did, pull a demolition permit. That permit has since expired. They were granted a hardship, as well. That's why we're here. So they would need to actually renew the demo permit and then proceed towards getting a permanent dwelling over there as well as cleaning up all the debris.
I'm sorry? All right, so you not only have a camper permit extension, you also have to pull a demolition permit again, because it's expired.
Yeah, most likely.
Now, what is your means of, because it's already been over the first 6-month permit,
Yeah.
and nothing has really happened but a tree move, what is your plans for the next 6
Well, we
months?
got one tree removed, and, the trees are falling everywhere around there anyway, because it's down in the woods, but got one, and then we have to do the other tree, but the way it's just, there's 2 trees in the back, I mean, he's saying that.
Yeah.
They're big trees, they're not little trees.
I'm asking if you are granted another 6-month permit by
Yes,
the Board of
Yeah,
Commissioners, what is your means of having a place to live in 6 months?
well, I'm not sure yet, I'm hoping to, use the property, you know, as a down payment on another home, but I have to have another septic tank put in, because the well's way up on the hill, so I want to out from under the trees up on, you know, out in the open field.
All right.
But it's like,
Mr. Pritchett, what is your recommendation, sir?
If it's the board's pleasure, I'm okay with, extending the permit for another 6 months, as long as the demo permit's, updated and progress is made.
All right.
Sure. What are all the cords?
They have a T-pole out there, and the poles, some of those feed to the camper, and some of them were feeding to the dwelling itself, the previous dwelling, and we placarded the home as unsafe and made it clear that they cannot occupy that structure.
So, and I'm asking, is that in compliance with?
They would have to, but those would have to be removed, yes. That was part of the issue. Now, some of those feed the camper, so they have temporary power feeding the camper, but they also had some additional cords that were going to the old dwelling. That needs to be removed.
Well,
So, were they occupying the old dwelling or using
just
it?
got stuff stored in there, because, like, the front part of the kitchen, all of that was wiped out, treatment, right through the kitchen. And then, and on the back part of the mobile home, there was an additional room built on, that was another big bedroom, but, you know, it's like, the trees laying across the bedroom is gone. And right there, right in the hallway to, with the bathroom and the entranceway into the bedroom, that is like, not really safe. But the board from the living room and the other bedroom, that's pretty much dirty, but that's where a lot of the things are stored. Because they clean out all the other, you know, get things out, and it's just in containers piled up.
But we're talking about that, it needs to be demolished is what?
Correct.
So you need to get so we need the demolition taken care of.
And they did have a demolition pole initially, but it has expired.
Okay. So, do you have plans to get it demolished? I mean, have you?
It's demolished, I mean.
No, I'm saying you got to remove everything that's there. Have you got the plans to get that done?
Well, that's what I've been working on. I've been running out of money, and I'm on disability, so, you know, I only get so much month, you know.
Understand.
So I'm working on it. My son said, I mean, that's only, you know, we're the only ones doing it. I can't do much, but.
But if we were to renew it though for 6 months, you would need to make some progress on that.
Yeah, yes, well.
And then if not, then
It's just.
we would need to, I mean, it's like renewing the camper permit would not be something you'd have to find you another place to live.
No, I have to put another home there.
Yeah, it needs, So if we renew this, I would think that you need to, try to figure out some way that you can get some demolition done and make some provision to get the home in there. And it's within the 6 months, because after the 6 month period, you'll have to, you can't, you wouldn't be able to live in the camper.
I know what you're saying.
You understand?
If I might add, maybe if we could put a stipulation in there where she would need to get a contractor to come in and demo the home and to expedite things.
Right. Yeah.
I'm fine with that, but Eddie, I would like you to come back to another, and just a one liner that the cords, that it's a safe environment for people to be right now. Cords strung out across the ground, we don't get to do that.
But I think that's a given, that it's gotta be safe.
Like I said, we did placard the home and made it clear that they could occupy it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions? All right, gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we give her a 6 month permit. She has to pull the demolition permit, and she has to remove any cords, make the safe, and has to get a contractor involved to do the demolition. Because 6 months after that, if that's not done, then she won't be able to live in the camper any longer.
Is there a time frame set in that motion to pull your demo permit? Eddie, would you like to see a time frame for the demo permit?
She would need to pull a demo permit pretty much now.
All right.
In order to,
So I have a motion by Commissioner Kurt. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Adams.
Yes, it's a yes, we do.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, sir. 6 month camper extension has been approved, automatic for demolition permit this weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Consider beginning the public hearing and legal process of abandoning a portion of Brown Hendricks Road, location District 4. Again, this is just to consider, to be discussed tonight. The vote will be at our next meeting.
The board needs to vote for the attorney to move forward in the legal process.
Correct.
That does not mean we're abandoning anything, but the public hearing will be scheduled for the last meeting.
Right, so if you vote to do this, to start the process tonight, we'll get I'll get the letters of notice, the required statutory notices out to the adjoining landowners, run the ad in the paper, and hearing and vote will be last meeting.
All right, gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
I make a motion to start the process to abandon what is it? It's a portion of.
Yes, sir, it's right.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Kurt to start the process of abandonment, and a second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen?
And the portion, just to be clear for myself, the portion we're abandoning, or proposing to abandon is the portion of the northern end of the road, the part adjoining 3 tax parcels that are all owned by the Cartwright Family Trust.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It will abandon it just to the south side of the creek. So we'll abandon the creek and then north, all through Mr. Cartwright's
Oh,
property.
the creek north.
Well, now, there was discussion for the board to consider of abandoning it at the other parcel above the creek to where Mr. Bowden's property bounds touches the other one, because if not, if you put the abandonment at the creek, you're gonna have a passable across private property.
These two parcels are owned by Mr. Bound. These three are owned by Mr. Cartwright. When you make this turn here, you start going downhill. And, when we wrote it, this was a good flat spot, and there's areas down here that I don't think you're gonna have to do much construction to make a turnaround. But I know that for staff, it's really just south of the creek that this is the main portion. This property owner is okay with us keeping this open, even though they own both sides of the road. She had more detailed conversation with Mr. Bounds about closing it here versus here.
It's just something to consider. There's no home on this property.
No.
It's just it would become a driveway.
Correct.
From the point of that intersection where the other property is, Mr. Bound's property. If you close it there, then it's technically a driveway through private property. If you don't, you're basically just extending the county road into his driveway that leads to no home.
So we want to abandon it at that more southerly point?
Well, that's for the board of commissioners to decide where they want to abandon.
Well, let me ask a question. Do you need that property up there to make a turnaround?
We will need some portion of their property to make it.
All right, so, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Are they agreeable to do it before it gets into that?
When I talked to her, she wants it closed as far down towards the creek as possible.
No. We're missing the point if we do that. All we're gonna do is end up generating a dump down there. You know, that needs to be their driveway. It's their property.
No, they came into my office and I expressed that concern because they're not on site year round. And if we put the dead end down there out of sight, out of mind, it would, and it also gives potential for.
So is that closing the whole road?
No, this portion from Chief William right here, all this up to where we make this turnaround will still be open, will still be county maintained.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, I mean, why that portion?
Yeah. Mr. Pruitt, you need to answer this.
Because it goes nowhere.
We have to give them access
through one owner's property.
That's right.
But we have to give this person access to their property.
Well,
It could be an easement, we do that all the time.
no, so Mr. Bounds would still have a public road that ends at the edge of his property.
Right.
He builds his driveway from there forward. The portion of the road from that point south is providing access to, well, is it providing access?
It's the same property owner here,
Somebody has a house.
but there is a home.
But they already have,
So we're
they're
giving
already
them,
on this other road.
We didn't
Chief Floyd
consider,
Road, they've got property on Chief Floyd.
we didn't consider abandoning this portion because this property owner
That
allowed
piece of
access.
property would be landlocked.
Right.
Right. Oh, that's a different,
is that a different
yeah, that
owner?
is a different owner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to
This is the same property owner.
That's right.
It's all one big lot area.
Yeah, the Bounds needs that road to keep going to his
So
property.
you would actually have the turnaround on the other property owner's spot right there?
Exactly right here.
Right there.
Yeah, okay.
That's on the Bounds property.
This is very similar to what we did at Osleyville
Yeah,
when we closed that.
yeah. I said, I'm just trying to understand that because, all right, so that's on both, there's more owners than I thought. I thought it was all the same owners on both.
Yeah, the big diamond
one's
there.
one owner.
Yeah.
This
That's
one's one
the different
owner, this one's one owner.
Okay, so we can cut it off just into his property, into the Bounds property. Okay.
Could you then alleviate that third stop sign that Brown, Hendricks, and Sam?
Oh, definitely, because this is a private road, that's not our.
Once it becomes a private road, you won't need that three-way stop there anymore.
We would eliminate all three stop signs and just have this other.
It's just a Sam Bruce straight through.
Continuing on through.
Correct. Okay.
Kind of, what's the deadline for a legal ad for this, for next week?
Okay, next week, Friday. You don't get this week, this Friday.
Gotcha.
All right, so I have a motion by Commissioner Cook to start the process. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Doster. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Commissioner Adams?
Yes.
Yeah.
consider awarding Pittman Construction Company seal bid number 2401, 2024 Elmeg Road Project in the amount of $1,824,615. This was the low bid by some $60,000, something like that.
$45,000.
$45,000.
Underneath Garrett Paving. That was the second bid, and the third one was Vertical Earth, and they were way over.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Yes, they were at 3.1, where these others were both 1.8. 2, 4, and 6 to 9, yes.
Have we used this vendor before?
Probably 6, 7 years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I know that, I'm pretty sure they're the ones that, paved Stanford Road, at that section. But Chris, that helps us out, he would work with them, didn't have no problem working with them at all.
Very reputable company.
Yes.
Okay, so we feel good.
Yes.
As far as their quality. Okay.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the contract with Pittman Construction, authorize council, staff, and
Work out paperwork. I think we've already got a standard contract, we always use.
Correct. I have a motion by Commissioner Doster, do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Adams.
And that's to move, go ahead and move forward with the contract too.
Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Discuss.
Sorry, I'm asleep.
That's all right. Discuss an intergovernmental agreement for administration and enforcement of state minimum codes for construction between Madison County, Georgia, and the city of Hull. This is for discussion. Mr. Pruitt is here. If anybody has any questions for him, and the city of Hull is here, if you would like to add anything to this on behalf of the city of Hull, I guess it's 9 and 10, technically.
Only thing I always trying to do is just get where code enforcement can come in there and just sort of oversee some of the trashy areas and help us get it cleaned up.
And you do realize that you have to follow our codes?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I could add on that, Mr. Chairman. So, this is fine on agenda item number 9. This is the IGA we need. We just need to make sure, like you said, that they've adopted the codes. On number 10, all we have in the agenda packet is basically the county's ordinance, and the city's just sort of added their signature at the end, but they're going to need to revise it so it refers to the city, not the county.
Gotcha.
And then we're going to need an IGA that's like this one, but with a scrap tire ordinance.
Okay. Since, just for clarity, I don't think you all retained a city attorney yet.
Right.
So.
Well, we got one now, but.
Okay. So I was gonna ask Mike, if you don't mind, clarify with them tomorrow.
I can help them with that.
Yeah, that's fine. Eddie, do you see any issues regarding this intergovernmental agreement that we need to be concerned with, or that you have concerns with?
No, I've got help and training, so be fine.
And that was discussing item number 9 and actually item number 10, also as long as the corrections has been made. Discussing intergovernmental agreement for solid waste, scrap, tires, trash of ordinance of Madison County and the city of Hull. So the intergovernmental agreement for solid waste, clarify that, please. I'm not following you on that.
That's just what Christopher brought to us and said we needed to adopt with y'all.
For code enforcement.
Yeah, are we doing this for any other cities right now?
We do the administration for construction, and then I don't think it's this one, I think we have a nuisance and abatement IGA that we've adopted.
Okay,
That we use. I think that this is the wrong contract for them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Eddie,
this looks like an older one.
We do all the building for everybody pretty much now except for Hull and Carlton. So they've adopted the intergovernmental agreement for us to do that. As far as code enforcement, they haven't
Yeah, I don't know what, I mean, what's in here is solid waste, scrap tire, and trash ordinance. Are we enforcing that for any cities?
Well, not that I know of.
Okay.
But is that what y'all are requesting?
Yeah, we just have started the garbage pickup, and so I got Christopher to come out and discuss stuff, and that's what he brought us and said we needed to dock through the county, that they could come in and help. If there's trashy yards and all, that the code enforcement would come in and help clean it up, where they can write citations where we.
But that's just the ordinance, that's not an intergovernmental agreement.
Exactly, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. They would have to be specific about
What they could
regulations
write.
as far as that goes. I don't know of a specific agreement that's been done.
Well, and the IGA would probably be very similar to the other one, so that's not really the obstacle. I guess it's more of, does the county have I mean, you do the building inspections, and I guess you can take that call, and you can do that. Does the county have the resources to take on this solid waste, scrap tire, and trash ordinance enforcement for any of the cities?
Yeah.
You think you can? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just written wrong.
Jonathan, what cities do we do now that we use our codes, that they have an agreement to use code enforcement?
I heard at Isla, we have a solid waste ordinance, but I've never seen that in written form.
There's something on.
And then, as for having the personnel to do it, there's two of us just to discuss, so we can handle it.
Okay, well, we'll look into it.
Yeah, this is just for discussion, but I think what we're gonna end up doing is having two intergovernmental agreements, one for building code and the other for code enforcement. And everything that falls under code enforcement be what it is, so we don't pick out which can or which brand we're gonna pick up.
No, yeah, so,
Well, when you say code enforcement, you're just talking about solid waste,
Correct.
litter accumulation. Okay.
Correct.
We're not going to get into enforcing zoning requirements or anything.
No,
Right.
no, because theirs is different altogether,
Right.
normally. All right, we'll get to details with that. Thanks, guys. So moving on, consider hiring Jacqueline Morris as the food bank department head. She's not here tonight because I figured this was gonna be a long night. I thought it would actually be a lot longer.
and this is the lady y'all have already met, that's taken over my Bobby's position. We just need an official vote.
She came highly recommended and well trained by Bobby, according to Miss Bobby Brooker.
So motion to go forward with this now.
Okay.
We appoint Ms. Jacqueline Morris as the head of food bank.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chandler, I have a second by Commissioner May. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Chandler.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. All right, item number 12, urgent matters. Not aware of any. Executive session to discuss real estate acquisition, personal matters, or potential litigations. Counselor, I would like to first ask, this is a situation to where, gentlemen, you can enter into executive session to discuss, obviously, what's written, real estate, personal matters, potential litigations. In doing so, if you enter into executive session, be mindful that the only discussion that can be had would be about the topic at hand and not amongst each other, which gives you an option to read the agenda item, the documents in front of you, and then choose to go into executive session or not. Am I correct with that, Mike?
Well, so it's a personnel matter, that's at issue, and it concerns, hiring, firing, discipline, or termination of an employee. On discipline or termination, the Open Meetings Act requires that evidence be taken and an argument heard in open session. If you go into executive session, it would just be for the purpose of determining whether you want to come back and take up item 13 to actually consider taking action on discipline or termination. Then we would come back into the open session to actually take evidence to discuss whether that should be done or not, whether that action should be taken.
So with that said, if I have a motion to go into executive session, I would have to close the public meeting, open executive session, return out of executive session, reopen the public meeting to consider number 14.
Yes, sir.
That's for the record. As Mike has stated earlier, if you feel like you have the information in front of you is accurate and you have no questions, then therefore you could avoid the executive session and make a vote or a recommendation. Correct, Mike?
Yes, sir. Basically, if the board members all feel that we just need to proceed to item 14, that's fine. No executive session needed. If anyone has concerns or questions about whether we should proceed to item 14, that member can make a motion to go to executive session to talk about that.
I'm sorry, I may have confused you guys.
So here's the question. Does any member?
I'll make a motion to enter executive session for discussion of personnel matters.
Okay.
I have a motion by Commissioner Doster, second by Commissioner Chandler. All in favor, gentlemen? Okay. At this point, Ms. Dake, as the HR director, you will proceed along with Counselor and the Board of Commissioners. Ms. Vinci, did you have anything, huh? Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm closing the public hearing, or public meeting, and entering into executive session.
But we'll be back.
But we'll be back.
Yes,
So he will meet with us tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah, I'll do that. All right.
How you doing?
Hey, good, how are you? I didn't know who that was back then.
You say me?
No, I said, Jay, we might be back.
Frank May.
You're the personnel we're going to talk about.
Yes, sir. So please.
Is there any verifiable?
Hey, who's gonna take care of you when you get old? When I get old? Yeah, who's gonna take care of you? Jesus.
Jay, if you don't mind, next time you buy a subdivision, make sure it's ready to go.
Well, I thought this one was. I mean, it was paved, retention ponds in.
The lights has been in that thing since I built my house over in 2002. Do what?
Yes, sir, he said it's fine for you.
Yeah, they hear, right?
You was go back in the chair.
Yeah, I was just playing with them, because I don't know, I think it was Don one day this week, I said, you know, if I knew that they were having a meeting on that, I would probably.
Doing good.
Yeah, I just, you can add it last minute. I hadn't seen it either, and all of a sudden I saw, oh, final plat. I was like, oh, okay.
I got a question for you, since I came up here tonight. When they renew that homeowner association, they got an all-signed contract, or how does?
No. I mean, it's like, you got an HOA.
Yeah.
Past for 20 years. So let's say 19 years, 6 months. They'll call a meeting, and as long as the majority of the homeowners approve it, which does not happen often. Because you normally can't get a majority of the homeowners to come and say what I've seen doesn't pass. Basically, they go door to door, put a petition out, get everybody to sign it, and then get everybody to agree, and then they basically go around with it. That's why they can't force it on people. That's exactly right.
Well, it seemed like what was going on, that's simple.
Like, well, they were all, theirs is over 20 years old. Because she's been in the house over 18 years.
Yeah.
The previous person.
Yeah.
So they haven't renewed it. that. And that's what Christopher, her attorney, was saying, is that it was
No, that's no good.
expired.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to do that.
What did the loss on that subdivision sale?
I hadn't sold it yet, so we're gonna find out. I got them, I'm going to probably list them for $75,000 each. And that comes from water, not sewer. Madison County don't have no sewer.
I know.
Yes, it's septic tank. Yeah,
How big is the lot?
2 acres.
2 acres.
Yeah.
I put in several tanks for years and pumped that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're all is a lot of big.
What about this thing?
So Brush Creek subdivision is all this. So this is Diamond Hill Culvert Road.
Okay, yeah.
Brush Creek entrance is right here.
Yeah.
So these lots here are people that are living in Brush Creek.
You want from Diamond Hill to Corbin.
It'll be on my left. When you pass Brush Creek entrance, it'll be the next paved road on the left.
Okay.
It's been there for years. It's had a red gate in front of it for 15 years, 20 years, and that's it.
I have a question regarding the well, you only needed 400 square feet around there?
That's with a 20-foot buffer around it. All you gotta have is, the well ain't 6, 8 inches, it's 8 inches. So we put a 20-foot buffer, what we did is we put a well house up with all the equipment in it, and we took 20 feet, went all the way around the well house, or buffer, and that equaled up to whatever the square footage is.
I was just wondering, municipal wells, got
No, you misunderstood. That's just a buffer, so nobody can build.
Right.
There's 100 foot buffer around the well head that nobody can put like a septic tank or anything. Yeah, that's state regulation.
non-municipal wells?
No, that's a municipal. Because I've got several, and all of them, they make us put 100 foot around them, that we can't put a house. We can build on that 100 foot, just like we built the building. But you can't put a septic tank or septic lines or anything else.
Tank from a creek ain't 50 feet.
50 from a creek, but 100 from a well. So they don't care if it runs to the creek, they just can't run to the well, they were gonna drink that.
That's what we do. I got a well down in Ellis County, 200, but she was 40 down a minute, ain't nothing.
Yeah. Well, I drilled another one today, and it ended up, we hit 26 gallons at 260 feet, and we hit 3 gallons at 400 something feet, and we hit nothing at 600, so we stopped.
Who doing your well?
Yeah, that's Robertson, but I got Fortson doing it. Fortson drilling it, but he pulls them guys out of Conyers, because he don't have a drill rig, and when Mary retired, David's doing everything. And so,
Boy, ain't let that boy from Madison dig his well on the.
well, they got 2 crews going. One's from Robertson, who's out of Conyers. And they got another guy. They just can't keep up, is what it meant. He said he's got 20-something on the agenda right now to drill, with all the rain. We'll put it this way, them trying to get to my second, well, they drilled one this morning, Jake Bridgman. They tried to do work for you.
Don't Grant do work for you?
Oh, yeah, Brent does a lot. He's actually in Athens today, putting in their septic tank lines on one apartment complex. The tree done growed up into it.
You go carry and crank.
Yeah.
Hey, well, it's gonna be there, if they put in city, county water, whatever, county gonna own that, or somebody?
No. All, what we did is come out of the well house and turn left. But all we'll do is go to where that 90-degree turn is, put a T and a gate valve, and run it up 70 feet, 80 feet to the road, and tap. But if they ever run down the road, we just tap to it, we'll cut the wellhead.
I know who's gonna own that lane.
The HOA. Well, they did it before 400 square foot.
I know, I was just wondering how.
Yeah, it'll always be the HOA unless they, and what probably happen is
They can HOA.
They'll probably give it, just so they don't deal with it anymore, to whoever owns the property around it. Yeah, just give it to those people to play. You can't have a wedding. Yeah. You too. Good to see you again. Been a year or three.
I figured it has not happened yet, they had their sheriff.
You keep Brett straight again. I ain't been able to.
They come back. You have to call me.
I know.
You have to call me. Yeah, quick.
That's right. I know.
Right now.
He does.
Yeah.
I put him on some jobs, he's got to scratch his head on a few times. Oh, I know.
I don't believe.
Pump out a bunch for me. You can pump out a bunch for me.
I used to get my bus, I had back on the
Well, I wish he'd start building again.
I
No, I'm saying, I wish he'd start building.
Yeah.
You can't find one reasonable anymore.
One of those,
What's in tank going for now?
I know. Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking, like $600, $700. I remember when I used to get $250, $350, $450 for them. Now they're like $700.
I've helped them for 10 years. Yep. And when I quit building tanks, I was getting
$275.
I had $50 increase in 10 years.
50. Well, yeah, but that's when cement actually was $50 a yard.
Yeah,
You know.
I had my own country plant.
Oh, you're pouring it to sell, making it to sell.
Yeah.
But now in concrete costing me
What do you
$200 a yard. Time you figured it out, it cost me $205, depending on how many, anybody that can get it to me. Of course, Turner, Thomas, I mean, all of them. It's just when you get ready, Morgan's probably the best deal. They're the busiest. You can get it $5, $10 a yard cheaper. But
They stay busy.
they stay busy, but I'm gonna tell you, honestly, here lately, Morgan's probably the one that didn't get there for anybody else. Everybody else says, give me a month, give me 6 weeks. You know, you call and you decide to start a job, and you call and get on the list.
Somebody told me, I was up there in Claire. And I talked to him about the phone, so he was like, really out there. It was pouring down rain. He canceled it.
Right.
He was good, he just had to pour it in the rain.
I've done that with boots before.
Take 2 yards for it.
2 yards. Right.
How much is one of them 1,000 gallon plastic? 5 plastic, whatever they are.
About $6.
Now in Alabama, everybody got flooding water. You pay all gallons.
I don't know, but he told us
That's it, I haven't seen it. Who won it? He got charged.
I went to.
But they get 2 yards, that's $400 just to
He
clean
said,
it.
When the bottom fall again,
Well, they get some. Yeah, the same way it was before, but I don't think it'll be that bad. They're rebuilding. Yeah. That's more than that. Time they get all that stuff done, they can sure need it. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
when they're falling, the old coon can. When they sold those land, I'm where the land sold.
I know where some of these sold last week. And I know another just opened 50,000 40 in Oconee and 50 something in Jackson.
2 years ago, all them farms, when they start selling those land, 40,
30, 40 style, 100, 30, 40 style over the years. They quit.
Gary's probably will, it's 9 on Friday.
All uniform. That's what they can't see. They got you conservation. They don't pay the canvas. Unfortunately, who pays rent? You know what I'm saying?
You and me business last year.
I
Go back over there and see. Well, the annual budget,
pine trees. Got you store, but they don't pay 10% tax.
You're not gonna do anything with it.
You can't go over here, you need to pay high taxes.
You need to pay that. You're not gonna farm. You're not gonna farm. But what's the biggest farming industry in Madison? Forestry is the biggest cash crop in Georgia.
Yeah.
There's more money. They just lost 200 acres of mine. Well, that's not property, it's not money. So they just lost 200 acres of mine.
I think they can get, put in your tune.
But they, we just got a file where they were tracked. But they got all cut to the second. What they did on most of it, is getting the more trees, they brought out that mulcher, and made it all full of water. They hauled it. Carol, I was going to the parallel place down here, but they were too far, I was drag up the creek. That track where we were, so they were hauling it to my area. No. Now, when they got back to the factory, there was poles that were back there. That was big. And those trees. Yeah, I mean, they were bringing, I say, $6, $8 a ton, but I sold the last load I did up here, whole, and it was just, I brought one of my buddy of mine was walking, he brought that motor, and they just shredded it. I can give it to them, they shred it, so they just shred it, and everything in there, getting $6, $8 a ton, they call it. Well, if you're making money.
When they take it,
Other counties
they shut down, when they're only taking it.
Right, sometimes, yeah, because I did that about a year ago, and they were taking anything.
No, do a curb stop on one.
That's right.
Stop it.
Yeah. Well, I don't let them stop, I think they ran out, I think they turned them all up, also that they stopped them, I don't know, they might have.
They got down, I
No, they turned them all up. Yeah, burning, they were burning the tree, so cross got.
You're already doing have to work with you.
Water? Oh, fair, you've been there for a long time.
Hey, in Edwards County, $20,000 for
Yeah, but they're paying about $20 at a higher rate.
I got 2 more years to think.
Okay.
Yeah.
They went for the, they went oh, I ain't into
Yeah.
That's what.
Well, if you live next to it, imagine that it's, you know, charged.
You know, if you go in there and buy a house,
Well, I saw somebody post up on Facebook yesterday or something that said, I've never lived in a chicken house before. Has anybody know how? I've been told it creates bugs and smells real bad. Has anybody else been like, you open that one up? Like if you go right now, that's so good. We can give it about 6 to 8 more weeks, and then heat starts heating up. Whole different story, start cleaning it out. But I claim many of my big chickens out of it, and I think when you deliver in here, you just get immune to it. And then you go spread it in the cow pasture. Now, when I go spread it in my cow pasture, my wife even puts it.
When we moved up here, load that manure spur.
By hand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I did I did a bobcat and a front loader on the track. I never had to do it with a scale.
We made, I think we making about $5.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I was young, I had to be raised.
Oh, like that. That's a whole different story.
We used to go down there and we did all watermelon, something like that. When we bought the first septic tank in 1973, we dug it up. We carried it over. 35. Wake up and
My daughter actually says that he can get on the ground.
I don't know anybody financially, but I know that they are. So.
She just moved in yesterday. We just moved her in the house yesterday. Copper diamond door.
Oh, I am. When the folks died, the rich folks were starving. Well, the soul man, the rich folks wouldn't have downtime. What my daddy told me before he died.
That's right.
He born in 1914. He was 83 and a half. I'm going on 80. Okay. I hope I live, I get 100.
Did you ever sleep there on the talk to them?
I always gonna get old. We don't know who in the world gonna take care of you.
John
Just sit there. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. It's just simpler. It's still gotta happen.
Every man live down there.
Okay? But it's gonna happen with the HOA.
Now, when that man got burned up in that town, that freak, what is his name?
You talking about over by the gospel barn?
Everybody's gotta pay their fair share.
Anyway,
That's what
down
it
here,
is. And so when you got 8 people,
he had a rental, he lived in
that
that
have to
town.
pay too.
If you got a heater, he walked on.
All that stuff, everything.
And here,
To pay.
the man lived in that, his wife was.
And right now, I'm on white water, wastewater off. But I got other things that I'm always on, and I'm gone. I just put cards in. They're gonna have to do that. You know, just once a month. And if there's a problem with this. Yeah. That's what I think is.
You don't never know.
I still got meters, I'm putting meters in, each watt meter.
I didn't have nothing when I was doing it, what I got, I worked.
Nothing's gonna change, so I work all when I sell a lot,
Daddy told us,
sell a lot, like.
when we got married, you never sleep in your house. You can.
Just to set them up in HOA.
And when I got my first little boy, I went all the straight. The burn, the back end of it burned. I pulled that thing on.
You know, it's like a difference.
And I slept in that spray with a drop door hanging inside the house. And I could see the moon through that. I slept in that, and I re-built that house.
just no different than.
Jim told us that y'all never live and come back here
To get a meter.
make you bill your home.
We might use that thing,
If we ever get
but
locked
that's
up,
just
you're right
reinforcing
before I
the
came here.
building of the well system.
And he made
So
something out of it.
that gives you kidding.
I can see the movie go down there.
Power bill
I
down
go
there.
get that house, I slept on the roadway there, and go to the creek, take a bath, and have a water.
So it's just a.
You need to talk about
That's years back, like, they don't put what you want in there.
You need to introduce yourself. Talk about being on Jimmy Kimmel.
I been on Jimmy Kimmel show. Man, I got twin brothers. We wrote songs about coming out.
But Joe,
We had to go to Jimmy Kimmel back in those days.
they gotta take care of that. Yeah, see, cause when they like the HOA.
I raised up that house, I got, I was.
Create an HOA, we put in there.
How you do it?
Had to get rid of them all.
Yeah.
They're responsible for any and all common areas, including the.
Y'all have a good night.
And they're required to do the maintenance. And who's got up there? I mean, you got a bush hog, or for drainage, you
Are you
got
talking about manufactured homes?
you know, or fence that we've already put up, needs to be bush hog. You know, just your normal, everyday. Yes. But spell out. That's a different home. And I'm spelling out the same way. So that. But you'll be there with it. Say on 109. Two things.
Is there a central?
First one, is they're gonna, they're all individual. The first one, they're gonna do is hire.
okay.
There's an issue with that though, Ron.
And then there was, be right, they should be paying, I think they were approved for, we're done with this, we're not making any money on this water.
You know.
That's a lot of.
If there's problems, you got it. And then what they do is they call somebody like Georgia Water, one of these not water, one of these companies, and they say, we just want to give you this well system. If you'll take it, that's gonna be my water, Georgia Water, up there, say, you giving it to us, we'll take it. It's all they're doing. They're in there reading meters anyway, and they were just decent to them, and they're gone. Then it's like the HOA's hand held on.
No.
Third party.
Wait a minute.
Which means they've got to, by law, still do all the testing and everything.
Have you got a water system like this in there?
Zero kids. Jay,
Several.
Jay, when did Glenn break his hip?
This morning, he fell getting out of the bath, or fell getting out of the bathroom, was on his walker, and fell and broke his, he didn't break his actual hip.
Right.
It's the bone going into the hip, and he broke it in two places. He's having surgery first thing in the morning.
Yeah, Roger just did.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Glenn Cross.
Oh. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, he fell this morning and broke his hip. Glenn? He broke it in two places right there. They're having to put a plate, two pins, they're gonna do surgery at 7:30.
So it was a leg, it wasn't his hip.
Well, it ain't his leg, it's his hip. I mean, it's high,
okay.
but it's not in the socket. It's not the socket of the hip.
I got it.
Cause I told Cody, I said, well, wouldn't it be easier for them just to replace his hip? And he said, it's not the socket, it's the, like part of the femur or whatever that's coming out of there is broken like that.
Wow.
Okay, I'll get it.
All right, I'll talk to you about it.
I'm sorry.
That's why.
I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive session
Yeah, you can go ahead.
and enter back into the public hearing. Public meeting, not
Yes,
here.
that's right.
That's right, motion, if we reopen the meeting.
All right.
Meeting.
Motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. I think it's on this side.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Public meeting may commence. Before moving to item number 14, I have to announce that I must recuse myself from any comments past this point. which Commissioner Doster, being the vice chair, will take all proceedings from here.
Mr. Chairman, after entering executive session and leaving the executive session and re-entering the public comment, for the purposes of personnel consideration, we have moving to item 14 for a motion from the board based on the information provided. Is there a motion, gentlemen?
I make a motion we proceed with the recommendation of the chairman. I have to elaborate on that one.
Yes, sir.
For the termination of Christopher Rhodes as the department head over family. Excuse me.
There's a motion on the table for the termination of Christopher Rhodes as department head. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion on the table by Commissioner Adams, a second by Commissioner Kirk.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just for clarity, is that motion's to terminate employment?
Yes.
Okay.
Any discussion? Being none?
And I may just add, if I can just, for clarity's sake, so the board has reviewed the written statements from various witnesses to the incidents and some prior incidents that led up to this recommendation from the chairman, and motion and second are based on the review of those statements. Is that correct?
Yes. Thank you for clarity. So we got a motion and a second to terminate. No further discussion. Commissioner Hyde?
Yes.
Mr. Chandler?
No. No.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries 3-2. Return the mic to the chairman.
Item number 15, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Anything of the withdrawals earlier, that was blow my mind. I have no idea. Well,
For aware.
What time are you leaving? What time are you going to try?